It's We Need Answers podcast, episode 113. Today we have Miss Blair. Oh, before we get to that, we do have Miss Blair here today. But Miss Blair
Woodson.
Miss Blair Woodson. But before we get to that part, I want to recap last event. If you checked out 112, we talked about the Reinvest West event last Thursday, and it was a success. This is where I met Miss Blair, and the event going to have some photos and videos uploaded soon. But basically, we're going to be doing this monthly. We're going to be talking about real estate, all the parts of it, the ins and outs, and we had some real stories from the people that live it, which is how we got to this episode today. So as I do every episode, I'll try to just bring the real stories and the real deal from the people. I know a lot of things we go through in life, important decisions, is you try to get the by the book answer, the YouTube answers, but you got real stories from the real people giving up real game. That's usually not for free. So if you are interested in real estate or buying any part of the field, development, commercial, all of that, please come to the next Reinvest West event. The flyer will be out soon. It's going to be monthly. Bring somebody that is interested, somebody you know that's in the field, whether they need help or they don't. They just want to get some information, network, all of the above. So, Miss Blair was one of the people that definitely was willing to come on the show and give up some game. I hope I get everybody on here, but I'm glad that you were able to make it and start to kick us off.
Thank you for having me.
And give us some game, because like I said at the event, I'm learning. Ryan came on here and we did that episode. Mm-hmm. She gave a whole lot of insight and a lot of game that I learned from myself, and I appreciated that. And after that, then going to the event, it's like I'm a whole new man. I know a whole lot more. my insight and my opinion on things is a lot different. Like on her episode, I talked. I'm an apartment guy. Like I've been having apartments. I'm a single man, no kids, no nothing. So I wasn't too eager to get a house. And then when me and Ryan also talked about the fact that a lot of people will tell you or give you advice to buy houses, but they don't really know that the whole thing. Like they just know that that's the thing you should do. So why not learn from somebody who's in the field that can give the real deal and the insight and give us the real steps? Because people make it seem hard. Some people make it seem easy, but you never know until you go through it, I feel like.
Absolutely.
So, starting from the top, you can introduce yourself and tell us, just give us your story.
All right.
How did you get into the field?
Well, thanks again for having me. I will say we did meet at the event last week, and I was renewed as well. It's always amazing to be in an environment where, you have like-minded people or like-minded energy, and it was very refreshing, to say the least. So, shout out to that event, and monthly. I'm can't wait for the next one.
Good. Me either. I can't either.
Yeah, but my name is Blair Woodson. I am a licensed Maryland realtor for the agency Maryland Real Estate Firm. It is a boutique firm located in Harbor East.
Okay.
Black owned and female owned. My broker, Lee Taylor. So we have. She has over 20 years of experience in real estate. We have probably combined with our team. We call each other a team, even though we're just everyone's individual. Over 100 years of real estate experience.
Okay.
Or close to 100 years of real estate experience. I got into real estate licensed 6 years ago, and started pursuing my license 7 years ago. And what made me get into it was I actually wanted to many moons before then, when I was in my 20s, and I kind of strayed away from it. I had a little bit of fear because I didn't see people like me, kind of being that agent. So it was still something that gnawed at me. I, like everybody else, watching HGTV and all of those shows, and I was like, you know what, I can do that. So I actually had a friend who was a realtor. He still is. And I reached out to him and I was like, this is what I was thinking about. And he was like, oh, you could do it. And I was like, okay. So it actually gave me purpose. It built a lot of confidence. It moved my life in a different direction altogether, which I'm very appreciative and thankful for. And everybody tries to find their niche or the things that they do and they're good at. It took me some things. I did a lot of things, but ultimately it prepared me for becoming a realtor, becoming this. Thinking quick on your feet, pivoting, negotiation, advocacy for people, connecting, networking, those sort of things. So I've been doing it now, like I said, for 6 years. I am someone who is still a student. I like to kind of refer to myself, like Drake said, a rookie and a vet. Okay. Like I feel like I'm a rookie and a vet in this game. Like I will never know everything. There's always something to learn. But I've been around a little bit had a couple transactions, to kind of know and have an experience and have others reach out to me, like other aspiring agents or individuals who are just starting out. So yeah, that's kind of where I am now.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, was it like, I feel like you have to, networking is a big part of being a realtor. Is it, or is it important?
Yeah, I would say it is. Okay. I would say it's important.
Did you have those skills already intact, or you had to learn that with growing through the business?
I think it sharpened the skill.
Okay.
It definitely sharpened the skill. And here's the thing, there's no right type of realtor. Yeah. You would be surprised sometimes of the people who I've met that they're realtors. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And nothing, like some of them are very mild, some of them are very meek. But you have to have a level of, I would say, fearlessness, if you will. Like, you got to talk to people sometimes. But when you have a passion for something,
you're going to do that anyway.
You're going to do it anyway. Because, there have been times where I have actually been in a supermarket and I overheard somebody, and we were in the soup aisle, like literally. And they were, talking my language. I was like, she's speaking my language. Right. And I was just like, excuse me, please forgive me. Like, you talking some real estate stuff. Are you in real estate? And, instant connection. Okay, so, cool. You feel comfortable. It's kind of like, when they say you find your people or you find your tribe. There's a difference, but there's so many realtors from all walks of life. Right. And the reason being also because there are people from all walks of life, and not one realtor is the best realtor for everybody. Right,
because they all do different things. Well, pretty much
all personalities too. Not everybody. Let's be real. Not everybody gets along. You need to find someone that you're comfortable with. Right. There are some great realtors out there. I'm proud to say I know a lot of a good few of them in this area and across the country, and then there's some that not so much. So it all depends.
Right. So when you said when you was getting started, it didn't look like people that look like you in the field. What did it look like at that point in time?
Well, so we're talking about 2003, 4, and 5. Okay. I didn't get in until much later, but they didn't look like me, or else I didn't see them. It was a lot of individuals that don't look like us, that are not a minority. It seemed very stuffy, if you will. When I was young, I remember this one lady, my mother's realtor, and she was a black lady. And then she actually turned out to go and become the first black woman for one of the local agencies. So we have boards, if you will, like local boards and state boards and national boards. But she became the first black president of one of the local boards here.
Oh, okay.
So, stuff
That's
like
what's
that.
up.
And
Yeah.
I saw her and I was like, oh, I want to be like her. She flies.
Yeah.
But as I got older and in my 20s, I really didn't see much representation.
Gotcha.
The way that we now have so much representation.
Right.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people that get into it, like they'll get their license and then don't do nothing else. That's pretty common too.
So the last time, don't quote me on these stats, but the last time that I heard, I think it was probably like in the summertime or whatever, there are like over 44,000 licensed realtors in Maryland alone.
Damn.
But
44,000.
yeah, 44,000 active
Damn.
licensed people. Now, just because you get your license doesn't mean that you're
Right.
really practicing, but they do have a license, and it
Okay.
is hanging in somebody's brokerage. I think a lot of times people don't realize that this ain't for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
It takes a lot
Yeah.
to become a realtor, or become a good realtor.
Okay.
I would say it is not the the HGTV and
Yeah.
how we were talking earlier about
Right.
the Selling Sunsets and
$1
all of
million
those
listing and
$1 million
all that.
listings and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Like it ain't always like that. It's
Right.
dirty.
Yeah.
I have been in houses for the most part. I rarely dress up, which I love now, that I don't really dress up, to show houses. I did in the beginning. I rarely dress up to show a house, because that's not me. I don't know what I'm going to encounter when it
Right.
comes to, homes. Now, am I dressed nice? And, I normally got like my logo or
Right.
something on. Absolutely, because I'm always going to represent
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But you never know what condition the house is in sometimes, or where you end up. I have actually scrubbed floors and windows and, got things prepared, moved stuff myself
Yeah.
to get the picture, to get the
Right.
right angle for the photographer.
Yeah.
Like, I'm that type of,
Yeah. Gonna do what you
realtor.
gotta do.
I'm going to do what I have to do
Yeah.
to make sure that it is presented in a positive light.
Right.
I am also not just going to sell a house to sell it. That's something that I'm very big on. It takes a lot to get your license.
Yeah. That was my next question. So what was the steps you took? Because I'm assuming even back when you were inspired to do it, or is it still the same? The steps are still the same it always been the same, or did it change over time?
Pretty much, they're pretty much the same. You have to have the state requirement, the number of hours. I believe that there's still 60 hours of in classroom time. You have to pass, of course, your schooling in your class. There are online classes that you can take as well. I took mine, I think, Long and Foster, like after work. I
Okay.
would just go up there to Lutherville and sit and take my classes. And from there, you have to actually take the state exam.
Okay.
So what they call the PSI exam.
That's hard.
Yeah. It can. Let me say this. It can be, right? So, and I'm not a test taker.
Okay.
I don't like taking
Yeah,
tests.
me either. I'm not either.
That
Not
ain't.
either.
That's
Yeah.
not for me.
I study for a whole month and still won't get it when it's about time to take the test.
Yeah. So I studied. I'm gonna tell you, I failed the first time.
Okay.
I did. I will say this. I actually passed the hardest part, which was Maryland state law.
For real.
I got a perfect score on that. And then for national, I missed it by 2 points.
Is it all multiple choice or?
Yeah, they're multiple choice, but you have scenarios, and
Okay,
you got a
okay.
little bit of math in
Right,
there, and
okay,
that type of stuff.
Yeah, see, I ain't
But-
with it.
But it's
That
not that
math.
it's not that bad. It's
Okay,
really not.
okay.
I think for me, I kind of again, not being a test taker, I second guessed myself. I was
Okay.
nervous.
Yeah. It happens.
It happens to everybody. I went back a week later and passed everything with
Okay.
with 100%.
Okay.
And even hearing certain things, like I told someone, I was like, "Yeah, I didn't pass." They were like, "Congratulations!" I was like, "Well," but now having that mindset, like being in this business, has actually changed my mindset. A lot of things as well. Like I'm
Okay.
always looking for the positive in
Right.
things.
Right.
And they were like, "All right, well now you know what you did wrong. You can go back
Yeah.
and do it." And also to hear, they were like, "You only failed it once. You know how many times people take this test sometimes,
Yeah.
and you have to pay for the test every time you
It's
take
expensive.
it. It's about $75.
Oh, okay. That can be expensive.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
taking it
keep
4 or
failing,
5
yeah.
times, you keep failing it.
How much time in between can you take it, or is it you can go the next day?
You can go the next day
Oh,
if you
okay,
wanted
okay.
to. I said I'm gonna give myself a week.
Yeah, yeah,
Let
as
me
you
hit
should.
this book.
As you should, yeah.
let me study this a little bit more.
Yeah.
But since then, I have actually done additional training as well. So on top of, like, every 2 years we have to renew, we have to do what they call continuous education classes.
Okay.
I have. I'm a realtor, but I'm also what they call an ABR, which is an accredited buyer's representative. That's a
Okay.
nationally recognized, what they call designation.
Okay.
I'm an SRS, which is a seller's representative as well.
Okay.
And a PSA, which is a pricing strategy advisor or analyst. So
Sound like the big dog right there. All of that.
yeah, but it wasn't bad because, again, I wanted to do it to brand myself or to market myself, and also to be the as best of the realtor as I can be
Right.
for my clients.
I would assume if they see those credentials on your under your name, it's like, I'm gonna go with her. She probably know her stuff.
Well, again, personality has a lot to do with it as well. I am a no nonsense
Right.
type of person.
Okay.
I'm not going to sugarcoat for
Okay.
you.
Okay.
I'm a go in as, I want to make sure that my clients are prepared, as best as possible, because this process is one. You had mentioned earlier, like, sometimes people say it's hard, some people say it's easy. Everybody's experience is different.
Right. Yeah.
So but I like to go in and make sure that everybody is prepared ahead of time. And I tell my clients, I give 2 scenarios about the process. One is that it can be an emotional roller coaster. It's going to be ups and downs to this, but my job is to try to make it as even keel as possible for you.
Okay.
Try to anticipate and expect the unexpected as much as possible, and also be able to pivot when necessary.
Okay.
And then I also say it's like online dating.
Never know what you're gonna get.
You don't really know what you're going to
Got
get.
you, got you.
Sometimes
Okay.
you swiping through pictures, you be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay,"
Yeah,
and then we
yeah.
get there, and it's like
Whole different person than what
like,
you
wait
see.
a minute, like, when they take this picture
Right,
versus
right.
now, like, this angle is not right. What's going on? So that happens, and I also, tell them, sometimes the one that you kind of squint your eye at and be like, "Oh no, I'm gonna just go just to go," and then you go there and it has the personality, it has what you're
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah.
I'm very big on learning my clients and how they respond to things, both verbal and nonverbal cues. You kind of know when somebody likes something because they start lingering in the
Yeah.
house and be like, "No, I can put this here."
Right.
But then, even then, I still try to make it as even keel as possible. Like, okay, congratulations, you got through this step.
Yeah.
Now we got to go to the
Right.
rest of these steps.
Some more stuff we got.
Some more stuff we got to do.
Do you you get, so let me start with the questions about the so for somebody who hasn't bought a house before, never got into the field, none of that, do you I know a lot of people feel like you got to have a certain amount of money to start. What's your answer to that? Like, what if I say tomorrow, look, I'm tired of living here, I'm gonna try to get a house. Tomorrow I'm gonna hire a realtor. Before I even get there, what should I at least have at the very beginning of the state?
Well, here's the thing. The first thing that you should do is reach out to a realtor,
Okay.
because the realtor is going to get you connected to where you need to be.
Okay.
I always say that I stay in my lane, and the real estate part is my ministry. you need to speak to a loan officer as well. 9 times out of 10, your realtor will be connected to a preferred lender or have lender partners.
Okay.
I have about 3 or 4 different lender partners because in the state of Maryland, you can use whatever loan officer that you would like.
Okay.
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 I kind of tend to stick to the ones that I know because we've worked together before.
Got a relationship.
We have a relationship. They know my expectation.
Gotcha.
I have a very high expectation when it comes to my clients.
Okay.
You know, if I need numbers on something to kind of estimate, that's what I expect. You know, it's certain things that, you know, you establish a rapport with people, and then also you learn who can do what.
Right.
You know, if they need a program, do I send the potential client to this loan officer as opposed to that loan officer?
Right.
But we got to know where you are first.
Right.
And as far as like the financial details and, you know, that sort of stuff, I don't really need to know all that. I'm not to know that. That goes on between you and the loan officer.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
don't, for what I'm getting from what you're saying, don't overthink it. Just go with the realtor first. Find a realtor first.
Well, either way, you can go with the loan officer first. Like, you might have a loan officer, you know, that you know and you trust, and then, you know, then you might say, okay, and just like we have a partnership with, you know, loan officers and everything, they may be able to point you in the right direction of a realtor as well. You know, but I would say between those two, they're kind of synonymous. As you can do one or the other, but of course, I'm gonna say reach out to me first.
Yeah, gotcha. Of course,
you know, reach out to me, and I'm gonna break it down. I do complimentary consultations with clients.
That's important.
It is.
Okay.
But, you know, getting to know, you know, both buying and selling and listing. I do listing consultations. So if somebody wants to put their house on the market, you know, I'm going to go there and look at the house and kind of tell them, you know, what I think and pull the numbers, like comps in the area, so that way they know what they're working with, and also give them a realistic, you know, kind of number, and explain that process. Because, you know, people will start doing all types of upgrades in the house and be like, oh, my house is worth this.
Yeah. They don't know what the real deal is.
Not according to the market. You know, whatever, like, you know, they'll call me in and be like, you know, I was thinking about, I'm going to knock this down and I'm going to put this marble all the way up, you know, for the ceiling. And I'm like,
don't do that. Hold your horses. Let's
rethink some things.
Right. Okay.
You know, that, but yes, I do those complimentary things that I go through each of the steps, but definitely the first step is reach out to a real estate professional, a licensed real estate professional, an agent that would be able to assist you, get you connected. And as far as the money part is concerned, again, it all depends, but don't call on Monday thinking you're going to buy a house on Friday.
It's a process.
And you don't have any, any money.
Okay.
Like I said, I like for my clients to be prepared because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There are a lot of programs that are available to home buyers, but you do have to qualify for them.
Okay.
And I am indifferent when it comes to home buying programs because they work for some and they don't work for others.
Okay.
You know, there are some that is actual free money. There's some that come with some stipulations, and it all depends on what works best for you. You can't go by what cousin, you know, so and so and an aunt and uncle so and so did back 15 years ago.
And that's why I said what I said at the beginning, because people will give you information and they don't really. It might have worked for them, or it might have been beneficial at that time for them, but it's different for like you said, every situation. Every
situation is different. Every seller is different. So, you know, it might be some people that are willing to give, you know, buyers, sellers assistance, and some that will not, or they just are not in a position to.
Okay.
You know, our market changes a lot. You know, we saw how the market changed during COVID, during the pandemic, and, you know, probably about July of last year we started to, see that turn. So things during that time were like sellers market, and you saw the jokes on TikTok about, people buying, which they really did, buy like 30, 40, 50,000 over.
Damn.
Asking. It was like, a bidding war. It was like Wild Wild West.
Damn.
And now we're kind of back down to normal,
right.
A little bit more even keeled.
30, 40, 50 over.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. You would be surprised. But, again, finding the correct realtor for you plays a real part in that, because I actually had a client whom he understood the market. He understood exactly where it was. And, he made a very generous offer on a home, but then they wanted him to put certain stipulations in his offer or the contract that if the house did not appraise for the amount, that he would still pay it.
That's a shaky stipulation then.
Yeah.
That's like saying that it's not going to appraise to the right number or something.
Yeah, so that's like, all right, you a sneakerhead? All right, cool. So, like, I like Jordan 1s, right?
Okay. Me too.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Okay.
So, let's say, for instance, you see a limited edition, right? Limited edition one. Let's say the Carolina Blue limited edition, and they went for, like they're bidding for like 200, right? So all of a sudden, everybody has a bid now at like 350. Okay, but you don't know as to whether or not the real value of the house is there, or the Jordan is there, right? The shoe is there. So let's say that you say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna give you $350 for these Jordans, but if they don't appraise for the $350, if they not valued at $350, I'm not gonna pay $350. I'm gonna pay what the value is. Let's say the value is like $300.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So at that point, during your negotiation, they want you to say you're gonna pay $350 regardless of what the value is, right?
Yeah, okay,
so
I got you.
That was that contingency. And now for me, I don't feel comfortable doing that. That's where that advocacy
it's
part
like getting over.
Yeah, or advocating for my client comes in.
Gotcha, okay.
I'm gonna say, move.
Right.
Don't do that. We're gonna find something else, and we're gonna find a better one for you.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
it's just certain things, like I told you earlier. Like I don't sell a house just to sell it.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to have a license. It takes a certain responsibility to hold a license, and it's a hell of a lot of money to continue. It's an investment.
Right.
It's an investment. And kind of going back to something else that you were asking about it being hard, or we were saying that it ain't for the faint of heart. It's not.
Right.
Like I said, 44,000 individuals in Maryland alone have licenses.
How many of them are probably active?
Well, those are the ones that were active.
Okay.
Again, these are older stats, so I don't know what it is currently today, but that's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But doesn't mean that everybody is doing it.
Yeah.
Or, that they're putting in the time to do it. It all depends.
Right.
It all depends. But you do pay money to be one.
So, what was your first sale?
My very first sale.
And how did it make you feel?
Wow. So my very first sale happened very quickly, actually, after I got my license. And it was a young lady who was referred to me. So a lot of my business is referral based, which is, great.
Yeah.
She was referred to me. First-time home buyer, which I do a lot of first-time home buyer.
I was going to ask that too.
Yeah, that's like one of my niches, and I love doing it.
Gotcha.
And I'll tell you why in a second. But she was my very first one. She came from a loan officer that wanted to gain my business. So he had already pre-approved her and gave her to me. During that process, he overlooked some things that he shouldn't had. Like, he should have caught it if he was looking, and almost like soured her. you know.
Oh, okay.
And she was just like, she sent me a text message. We were looking at houses. She sent me a text message like, thank you, but no thank you. I'm just going, I was like, wait, what? Like, what happened? What happened?
Right.
So, you know, just even, I'm a therapist, I'm a coach, I'm a security guard, I'm a cleaner.
Wear
you know,
all
like
the hats.
I wear all the hats, right? So I was like, okay, what happened?
Let's get through this.
Let's get through this, right? And she told me what happened. It was a grave mistake on his part.
Okay.
And I just learned how to pivot. I found her another lender whom was able to do the job, and of course he was, you know, the original one was like, but that was what I gave you.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, no, when she signed for me to represent her, like that representation part,
Yeah.
she's my client.
Okay.
So I don't care
Okay.
who did what. I need to make sure that she's taken care of.
Yeah.
So it ended up actually working out. She found her home. She's actually still living in her home
That's
right
what's up.
now.
Okay.
And, you know, to see, and at the time she was expecting. So now I just saw a picture of her daughters today, and I was just like, oh my God, they're so big.
Wow.
So to see that,
Yeah.
and I got her from start to finish, and I was just like, holy shit, I did that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it was like, oh my God, I did
That
it.
make you feel good.
It made me
I
feel
would assume,
good.
yeah.
And not only did it make me feel good, it definitely felt good to get a commission check. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, because I put a lot of money into,
Yeah.
you know, becoming, like, from headshots to business
Yeah.
cards, and you know, you don't get money, like,
Right.
I don't get paid until
You
the
sell
house is
something.
sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, and then having to divvy all that out, what I made actually covered everything that I had to invest in real estate, even from day one, like taking the class, and then some.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I was like, oh.
So that
okay.
motivated you to keep going, I'm sure, because if you would have like I ain't even make all my money back, you probably be like, man, this ain't even. But I know it was, you knew that's what you
know
wanted
what? To
do.
be honest, no.
Okay.
To
I
be
got you.
honest,
I understand.
no.
I understand
So
that too, though.
when I first started out, I actually had 3 jobs.
Okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that shit.
I was working full time at one hospital and working part time at another hospital.
Okay.
And then when I got my license, I actually got the part time to help me pay for everything for you know, my real estate
stuff.
needs.
Okay, gotcha.
And I would work the full time, go across town, work the part time, and I'm talking about like overnight shift, graveyard shift. After done seeing some things,
Yeah.
because I worked in a ER type of situation.
Okay.
I would get off at 7 in the morning. I would get myself together like in the bathroom real quick and go show houses.
Okay. You was on your grind.
I was on a grind.
You was on a grind.
I was on a grind. And then, you know, showing the house like, oh, look at the house,
Yeah,
here's the
yeah.
house, and you know, tell me what you think, let me know.
Yeah.
Here's some more houses. And then also what we call open houses. I would do those. So open houses, when you go see houses with an agent, that's a closed showing.
Okay.
So that means that you have to actually be with someone who is licensed to go into someone's house and
see
look
the
at it
whole
and see the whole
everything.
everything.
Okay.
But when we have what's called open houses, then
Anybody
can come
Okay.
walk through, you know, the neighbors, bring
Yeah.
whoever, you know, from a certain time to a certain time.
Yeah.
So I would do those as well. I would leave there or stop showing houses or, you know, do the open house, go home. I have a daughter. You know, I would, you know, spend time with her, crash.
I would assume that all of that work
for a couple hours.
and then get back up for work.
Get back, I'm doing it all over again.
Damn. Monday through Friday.
Yeah, so I would work the part-time and the full-time during the week. And then, you know, my weekends, I would leave for
The real estate.
the real
stuff.
estate.
Okay.
And then, of course, you know, the days, I would always try to map out, like when someone wanted to see a house, I would map out the timing of it. And I was always, you know, forthcoming with my, with my clients, like, hey, you know, I have another career going on as well. But, you know, and 9 times out of 10, these people are working.
Yeah.
So they can't
They
go see
respect it.
houses. Yeah, they can't go see houses during the day anyway.
Right,
so
right.
we
So,
go at
yeah.
night and, you know,
Yeah.
see the houses and stuff.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I did that for 3.5 years.
Oh, okay.
And it got to the point where I was like, somebody had to tell me. They were like, you can stop.
You were so caught up
I
in
was
it,
so
you ain't
caught up
even.
in it because
Yeah.
I just did
Yeah,
it
you had a program.
at a program, and
Yeah.
then I was like, I'm tired. And they were like, well, you can
Right. You was doing all
you
right
can
with the
afford.
real estate at that point?
I was doing pretty good with the
Okay.
real estate at that point.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you, like, I've learned so much. I started from nothing,
Mm-hmm.
like nothing. I probably couldn't even get anybody to if borrowing a piece of gum was
Mm-hmm.
like having to go through a credit application, I wouldn't even get approved for that.
Damn,
So
okay.
it was, it was bad. I went through some personal hardships. I felt like I was in a relationship for a very long time, sacrificed a lot, and I felt like I got a divorce without being married.
Okay.
So, I'm built like I was really trying to
Yeah.
be on my pursuit of happiness type of Will Smith type of
got you,
thing.
Got you.
So yeah, I did that, and real estate came along. Like, that's why when you were saying, if you didn't make the money back, would you had
No.
I would have still kept going.
Yeah, you was destined for that.
At that point, like I've come so far. I didn't even tell anybody that I was in real estate school.
Oh, yeah.
For a very long time. Like only a few people knew. I didn't tell anybody. Like I didn't even tell my family until I actually
Why not?
passed. You know how
People get discouraged, try to discourage you.
not even just that, but like I said, I've tried different things, and trying to find my niche.
Okay.
And for this one, it just felt different. Like, how you were like, all right, I'm gonna see this through first before you announce your relationship with anything.
Got you. Makes sense.
And I was just like, I'm gonna hold on to it.
Yeah.
And I passed, and I was like,
it's real now.
It's real.
Yeah.
it's real. I remember
Right.
getting my first business card. I was like, oh my God. I took my little pictures and stuff, like, ding. I was like, okay. And, and then to get that transaction done and actually,
Yeah.
thought it was like, okay.
It was all worth it at this point.
It was all worth it. But what made it more worth it, Mook, was, and the one thing that I really love about real estate, I've worked in like telesales before, like we've all had them kind of jobs.
Those jobs, yeah.
And
the passing through jobs. I'm just doing this just because I know it's going.
but I always felt I was very good at sales and telesales and everything like that at the time when that was the big thing to do.
Yeah.
Saving accounts and getting bonuses and all that stuff. But I felt empty.
Right.
I
It
didn't
wasn't
feel
fulfilling.
it wasn't fulfilling.
Yeah.
Because I felt like this person really didn't need that,
Yeah,
right? But in real estate, I started to feel purpose, and not only was I winning in building my family,
You helping somebody else
I'm
do
helping
that.
somebody else.
You changing lives. Like you said, the lady was, you got her house, she's still in it.
Yeah.
Raising the kids when she was when she was
Yes.
pregnant at the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's changing lives.
So to see those things and still be able to like see my past clients and they celebrating and
It make a
having
difference.
and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Everybody walks away from the table a winner.
Right. Right.
So to have every last party who was a part of that transaction win, from buyer to seller, you have a title company, we can kind of talk into those details, the lender, loan officer, everyone walks away a winner.
Okay.
It should be, as it should be that way ideally, but the seller wanted to sell their house, they got to sell it. The buyer wanted to buy a house, they got to buy it. I get a commission, the listing agent will, get a commission, vice versa.
Everybody eats.
Everybody eats, Yeah. What was that on Paid in Full? Everybody eats.
Yeah, everybody eats, B.
Everybody
eats, B.
Everybody eats.
So you were saying you like doing first time homeowners. Why is that?
First time home buyers.
I'm sorry.
I like working with first time home buyers because it's really like we just talked about, helping them take the thought of it or the idea. It kind of makes it like something out of nothing, and then they walk away with a house.
Yeah. Okay.
They actually have something tangible that they're living in, and they're building something from, like you said earlier, that you're an apartment guy, and then now your mindset is kind of changing a little bit. And I'm sitting here like, Oh, find a house.
So
He gonna find a
what's your
house.
thoughts of that though? What is do you feel like do you feel like houses and condos are for everybody, or do you feel like certain people should go different routes?
Everybody has a different story. I do believe that. I think that there's so many people giving their opinions about, don't buy the house, buy a house, whatever. Make it work for you.
Right.
You know, if anything, I would say just the equity, like I, talked to, I made mention about last week in the event,
Yeah.
the story about how we, at some point, Black people were not supposed to own anything.
True. True.
And there is actual documents like titles, and if you go all the way back to like landowners and stuff, and it literally says
That
in
black person
you
can't buy.
cannot have, a Black person cannot live here.
Yeah.
A Black person cannot own.
I seen it on a show before.
But it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for our people whom have had homes and, like we talked about the like older people in your family, don't let it leave the family.
Yeah, right.
Like keep the legacy going. Like
Yeah.
purchasing that is like legacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And equity and leverage, like we were talking about leverage. So I would say find what's best working for you.
Gotcha.
If you are, somebody that likes an, apartment or whatever, that's cool. But, if you like that space, you don't want too much. Why not try to find, something modest and build from it and, gain equity,
Yeah. I'm definitely good.
Yeah, because think about it, you paying somebody else's mortgage.
Yeah. And I'm convinced now. I don't need no more convincing. My plan was, originally, like last year, I said this was going to be my last year on this lease. I was going to get another apartment. But now, I think I'm going to ride it out. And then when I leave, I'm going to get a house. That's my plan now.
Okay.
So I'm cause after hearing everything from the event and what you're saying now, and like I said, the event, I was talking to one of my coworkers about it, and the benefits from taxes and all of that stuff convinced me. That convinced me.
Man.
I remember Ryan was here when she was saying like she randomly went to the mailbox, had checks for the properties and stuff like that. So I'm sold. If I can make money on where I live at, I'm definitely sold up.
Listen,
I'm sold up that.
Like I'm not a tax expert, but I'm gonna say that you get tax breaks and tax credits for the interest that you pay on the property, any upgrades that you do on the property. Like if you have a home business and like there's so many different ways and avenues for it.
You can get
and
the money.
Here's the thing, right? God forbid that you can't pay your rent, right? How many days do you have?
An apartment? What is like 5 days or something? 10 or 15 days?
So you
like
late. So the 5th,
Is you late?
you late.
Okay.
Then like 2-3 days later, they already filing with the courts.
The courts, yeah.
And then you got to pay the court fees and everything else. Now, not saying, let's say you miss a mortgage payment, right?
Yeah.
That's still bad. You don't want to miss any payments.
Yeah.
But you got a little bit more leverage.
Right.
And let's say, for instance, you'd be like, you know what? I'm going to go move with somebody else, or I'm going to go get an apartment and I'm going to rent this out.
Okay.
And then you can rent your house out and make the money for your mortgage and maybe a little extra. And then you can go live in your maintenance-free apartment, your pool downtown, or, whatever you want to do, right? Yeah. Or if you say, all right, I got it here. Like I have a client now whom the end goal is to move to Texas.
Okay.
Cool. While you're here, though, why don't you go ahead and because, she was like, I want to rent. I was like, okay. But I want to rent this. I'm like, okay. Okay. Like I want a rental in the county, and I want I want all of these amenities. Okay.
So she wanted to buy a property and rent it out?
No. She wanted to rent
Oh,
a
okay.
property.
Oh, okay. Got
Yeah.
you. Okay.
So now, mind you, realtors can actually do rentals as well.
Gotcha.
That's a part of the business,
Uh-huh.
especially for private, landlords and things of that nature.
Right.
But the rent she was looking at was like $3,500.
Fuck that.
So she was
It's
like,
a mansion?
no, townhouses,
Damn.
like, nice townhouse, but
Okay.
townhouses all the same, right?
Yeah.
So, I just let her say,
Mm.
okay. And she was like, oh my gosh. I said, okay. I said, so I understand what the end goal is, but why not look to buy something? And then in a year or two, once you decide that you want to move, you're really going to do the transition, you know for sure, you can sell it or you can rent it.
Okay.
And you still get something from it.
Yeah.
Because, now granted, what the thing that people don't talk about sometimes is that the value of homes can go up and down. However, progressively, like, what do we always have? Well, we used to pay, well, I used to pay, I'm going to say that. By the way, I caught that miss thing. I ain't that old, but okay.
No, I just proper.
No,
You, I got
that's
you. I
fine.
got you.
That's fine.
Got you.
It's cool.
I'm
But
Xing it.
we'd be able to buy like 4 bags of chips
Yeah.
for $1.
Right.
Right?
A huggy.
You can get a Huggy.
Yeah.
You
Quarter.
you can go with $3 in the store and
make out.
And make out. Like you got 4 bags of chips, some cookies, a drink or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You can't do that now, right?
Not at all.
Now you paying about $10 for the same stuff.
Yeah.
So think about
In
it.
a half full bag
Right.
of chips.
A whole bunch of air.
Yeah.
So think about it to that aspect. It's inflation, right? So people whom have bought homes, the value has increased. You get equity. You can borrow against it, or like some people. I had a gentleman who purchased a home with me. First time home buyer. He bought a home, and then 2 years later, he was like, "I'm ready." I said, "Okay."
To what? Sell it?
To sell it. I said, "Okay."
You ain't believe that?
No, it was fine.
Oh, okay.
It was fine. For what he purchased the house for versus what we sold it for, within 2 years, he made a profit of over $60,000.
Dang. Okay.
Once everybody's paid, said and done, transfer fees, taxes, all that stuff.
Profit 60,000.
He pocketed his net, meaning what he walked away with was like over 60,000.
Damn. Okay.
Within like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. That's a flip. You convinced me. I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm sold.
Like within 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
So,
that's cool.
yeah.
That's cool. So, do you typically do in a city or you all over?
I'm all over.
Okay.
I have sold in Harford County.
Okay.
I have sold in all the way down in Clinton, Waldorf. I have sold. I actually learned parts of Maryland that I didn't even know.
Okay.
Like
Just based off of people saying, I want to live in this area,
yeah,
and you'll just do your research and.
yeah. I'll
Okay.
go. Yeah,
Okay.
95 take me, 695. I'm pretty much there.
Right.
Yeah.
So that how does that process work? So that's based. I'm assuming that's based off of networking and knowing people too, from out them areas and all of that, or you strictly just I go out and find what I find.
What do you mean as far as finding
So-
the properties or finding the people?
The property. So if somebody say, like for instance, I want to live out Fulton, Maryland, or something like that. If you're not familiar with the area, do you connect with other realtors, or it's just like?
Oh, okay. So again, with all them fees and stuff I was telling you that we got to pay.
Yeah.
So we pay for a program that all of us utilize that we put the houses on. It's called Bright MLS.
Okay.
So the MLS listing goes on. If you told me your criteria, you're like, I want to buy a house, like you said, Fulton, Maryland, and I want a townhome, I want 3 bedrooms, I want this. I plug all of that stuff in.
And then it generates.
And then it generates, and I send it to you. Like I there's a way for me to send it, on a daily basis. I can even send something to you as soon as something hits the market.
Okay.
It all depends on how you want to, how many emails do you want to see from my little email campaign?
Got you. Okay.
And then from there, like, and I always tell my clients this as well. Research, because some people are like, I don't know where I want to live. I just want a house. And I'm like, okay, let's really understand some things, right?
Yeah.
How far is the nail shop?
Okay.
Where's your favorite grocery store?
Right.
Is there somewhere to eat? Do your children have activities?
Or where don't you want?
The barber shop? Like,
yeah.
Where can you see yourself, or how far away? Where's work? For people who got to travel to work. So those are those type of things. And then I say, go research neighborhoods. Go drive around. And then that way you can see where things are, and do you want to live there, or do you not? And we can exit off the list, or we can put it on the list.
Right. Okay.
So for those that say, I don't know where I want to live, I'm like, all right, you gotta have some type of idea.
Yeah, of course.
Of where you want to live. Now we just gotta kind of figure out the neighborhood or the area.
Right. Okay. So when those type of situations happen, and then it plays out, how long typically does that process take before it's like, from beginning to end, how long does that process take from finding a house, closing the deal, and all of that? It can vary, I'm sure. It can vary,
but on average, anywhere from about maybe 30 to 45 days.
Oh, that ain't bad.
On average.
Because whenever I be hearing stories about stuff, it'd be like, I guess the stories vary, but it'd be seeming like the process be drawn out a little bit.
Now, you got to find a house first.
Sure.
You got to find a house. Okay. But you say from the time that you find a house and you your offer is accepted.
Yeah.
Like, even in the contract and the offer that we draw up, we say, we give a specific date for settlement.
Okay.
Now, that's where everybody aims to get to, and to make sure that it's done. And going through the steps of purchasing a home, like we talked about, you find a realtor, you speak to a lender, you get a pre-approval. The pre-approval that you get lets you know how much purchasing power you have.
Okay.
So how much can you afford? How much is the bank saying to go out and look for this amount of house for? Based upon that, that goes into that criteria, and we look for the houses within that approval range.
Gotcha.
Within a price range.
Okay.
And then, from there, we're going to go look at houses. I also tell my clients, if you see a house, you driving down the street and you see a house,
address.
Screenshot it to me,
Right.
Get the address, send it to me. Let me do my research. Let me, speak to your lender and kind of get numbers. That way we kind of know, because here's the other thing. You could be approved for a certain amount, but you may not want to actually purchase for that amount, or you may not want that monthly payment. That monthly mortgage means something. And I also, tell my clients, I don't want you to be house poor.
Yeah.
That defeats the purpose.
You can't enjoy it.
You can't even live.
Yeah.
Like, that's no fun. So, you can be approved for like $500,000, but you may not want to pay a $500,000 mortgage, right?
Right.
So you may want to, cut that down and, be able to still live.
Right. Okay. So that means find another house.
Yeah. That means understand. So if you say, because like the lender partners that I had, they'll say, how much do you feel comfortable with
paying a month?
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
And then if you say, well, I feel comfortable at $2,500, then they're like, okay. Then they tell me, they said they're comfortable at like $2,500. Yeah. This is, based upon interest rate, based upon property taxes or whatever. Yeah. This is the window you need to stay in.
Okay.
And then we go from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all of that. So how big of a part does credit play in all of that? Major.
Big part.
If it's major, but you have ways to help the credit also?
Yes. So what happens is, like I like to tell my clients, speak to the lender, speak to a loan officer. Even, like I said, don't think that you're going to, decide on Monday to buy a house and then, Friday you have it. It is a process. And even if you are not where you want to be or where you need to be, try to start as early as possible. I always get the, oh yeah, I'm gonna come talk to you, but I gotta clean up my credit first.
Just talk to you first.
Who better to tell you
right.
what you need to do to buy a house than the person who is going to
sell
give
the house,
you the money?
house,
No, the lender.
Oh,
give you
okay,
the money.
Okay, true.
To buy the house. So
if somebody say that to you gonna hook them up with the lender?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the reason being is because, again, I stay in my lane. So my lane is to connect everybody and move the process along, negotiate the deal, advocate for my client, find the house, and walk them from, point A from A to Z. I'm there throughout the entire process. Got you.
Okay.
So, and I like to tell them, like, I am the coach. I am, like I said, I'm the therapist, I'm the guard dog, I'm the security, I'm the muscle.
The coach, all that.
I'm everything. And I tell them, like, I be like, I'm team Mook, like, and
you riding.
I'm riding. And I even tell them, I'm not even working for you now. I'm working for the future you.
Right, okay.
The home buyer you.
Right.
Because I'm gonna get on you too if you don't doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
gotcha.
You're not supposed to be out and happy hour. You're supposed to be saving money. Don't
gotta get disciplined.
Listen, don't open up no new cards. Don't buy no new cars. If your loan officer or your title company is asking you for documents, make sure you have them and get them to them immediately, because again, we just talked about that window.
Yeah.
That window is pretty small. We're about to be in March already. We were just celebrating New Year's, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it goes pretty fast.
Right.
When somebody's asking you for something, just get it to them. If you're supposed to be saving or in a savings, make sure that you're saving.
So is it smart to make the to start that process while you paying the rent already? Like, some people be like, I'm gonna move back home for a minute and then try to get in the house and all that, or is it?
Everybody is different. So
if you can afford it,
if you can afford it,
okay,
then do it. Here's the thing. So you were saying, like, is there a certain set amount of money? There's not really a certain set amount of money. You need to have money, yes.
Okay. Even if you got like A1 credit.
Yeah, you still need money.
Okay.
You got down payment and closing costs. Like, for instance, FHA, which is the federal government-backed loan. FHA requires you to have 3.5% down.
Okay.
Closing costs can run up to 6%. Now, it's of the purchase price.
Okay.
So, that's why you want to make sure that you do have some funds. But again, there are some programs that are out there. I like to, again, make sure that people are fully equipped and know what they're getting into. And I like my clients to be prepared, because I don't want you to be under contract and then you're heartbroken because you ain't got the money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, you got some time to get the money, as long as you know that you're going to get it. People can utilize 401k. When I left my position, I had 401k. I used my 401k and cashed out, and to be honest, and used it to buy my house.
Okay.
And
that's what it's for, really.
Depend.
Yeah,
everybody's plan is different.
Yeah, true.
But there are some.
They give you that option.
There are some that do allow you to borrow against, or give you the option to utilize it for that.
Yeah.
Taxes. We're about to be in tax season now.
Yeah.
Save your taxes. Yeah. You can use your taxes as a lump sum. Somebody can gift you money. So, like, if your parents or somebody's like, you know what, I'm gonna gift you money, to go towards your closing costs or your down payment. As long as there's a money trail, a paper trail.
Okay.
Like,
they gotta be documented.
It has to be documented.
Okay.
Then it can be utilized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I ain't know that part.
Yeah, so many different ways that you can do it. Like, it can be done, but your credit is important, especially for some of those programs. You have to have a certain credit score.
Okay.
And of course, the better your credit score, the better you have as far as interest rates are concerned, or like I said, different programs. Having the you were talking about how some people said it was hard. sometimes the hard part is, the bank or the underwriter. So you have, different steps in it. The underwriter at the bank, not your loan officer, but the underwriter who looks at everything, and they going to look through your credit and everything else. They might see some things. And those are the people that are going to approve or, really, deny you get in the house.
Right.
Make sure that you have, good habits ahead of time. And honestly, you need to have good habits anyway, because, mortgage and bills and stuff, no joke.
Yeah. It's a lot to take on when you're getting into the house.
Yeah, well, I mean, to whom much is given, much is required.
Right.
It's the same type of thing. You gotta prepare your mind, or have a good mindset for it.
For sure. So we talked about all of the good stuff. What about one of your worst or bad experience, or challenging, however you want it, whichever one you want to pick, challenging experience in the field, whether it was in the beginning or any part of it, that one part that was like you had to push through, or one sale, one client, anything like.
Well, there have been some times I've had to actually fire clients.
Okay. I ain't dealing with you no more.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a good fit.
Okay.
I give 100%. I give over 100% for my clients. I sometimes the writing is just kind of on the wall. I did have a client, unfortunately, happen this past fall, where it was a lot of smoke and mirrors, and it was down to the point where he wasn't even trying to pay the home inspector, which we didn't talk on those things, but home inspector, to come do the home inspection of the property to make sure that it was, in working order, if there are any repairs or anything that need to be done, so that way they can be addressed. And I had to kind of check it out. I didn't know that he didn't pay him.
So the person that's interested in buying has to pay.
Yes.
The home inspector. Okay.
Correct. The buyer has to pay for the home inspection.
That's expensive.
It all depends on the property. Like, there are a lot of variables when it comes to this stuff. Square footage makes a difference. Because you're not going to pay, of course, you're going to pay more if it's a house that's
a huge house.
A big house. Yeah. It's more ground they have to cover. But on average, I think maybe the highest home inspection that I saw, that as far as price point, was probably about $700.
Okay.
But it was a big house.
Okay.
It was a huge house.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think the lowest that I saw was like $350.
Okay.
It all depends.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
It all depends. But this guy didn't give. He was. The loan officer was asking for his things, and he came to me with a loan officer, so I didn't really have a established rapport or relationship with this one. But he still did his job, and he was asking for things, and it was just a lot of smoke and mirrors. And at this point, it was just to the point where we had to go our separate ways, because
Getting tired of it.
Not even for me getting tired of it. I worked with him for about 2 months. We were under contract, and he was supposed to do certain things, and he did not do them.
Okay.
You have an obligation, for yourself, and he lost some money too, because when you are purchasing a home and you like a home, you have what's called an EMD, which is an earnest money deposit. It's like a good faith estimate.
Okay.
You're being serious. It kind of gives a little skin in the game.
Yeah.
You're saying I'm a serious buyer, take me seriously.
Okay.
And also because that seller takes the property off the market, so no one else can get it.
Yeah. So don't waste
while
my
you're
time.
under contract, right?
Yeah.
So he did that, and he lost money. So he didn't take it very seriously.
Yeah. Okay.
And at that point, and again, that's a situation where everybody loses. I don't like that, because I like to be fair across the board for everybody. And, thinking about the seller, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I don't like that. And I like my what I do, I take it very seriously.
Right.
My brand, my name, my license. And, I value when other agents say, I really enjoyed working with you.
Okay.
You know, I really like you're really on top of things and
Yeah.
stuff. That makes me feel good. So I don't want to be somebody like, you know,
Yeah.
her clients don't do what
Right.
they
I was
supposed
about
to
to say
do.
that
You
could
know,
mess up the relationship with the seller doing stuff like that.
yeah, with another agent. So if that agent come back again and see me, they probably like,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
Yeah. I feel you on that
Yeah.
one. So ain't no. So now it's like you got a better read on your potential customers. I mean, well, buyers.
Well, for him, I can't judge. You
Until
know,
it gets to that point.
yeah, I can't judge somebody.
Yeah.
You know, based on somebody else.
Right.
And you know, we gotta be, we have to be careful and strategic as well because you know, again, I have a license.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh yeah, true.
you know, I have certain things that I, you know, have to abide by and go by, and
Yeah.
we were under contract, so I have a fiduciary responsibility as well, you know, for certain things. So yeah, but
Yeah.
ended up having to, you know, let that one go.
And that happens. That doesn't happen often, or is that?
It doesn't happen
Okay.
often.
Okay.
I have had situations where I've had to pull contracts because, you know, kind of get at a stalemate. I've had about a good 3 that I've had to pull contracts on because of repairs or something, you know, was wrong in the house. And again, I'm not going to just sell something to somebody.
Yeah.
Like it was a roof situation. One house was so bad. This is a young lady, and I was so proud of her. She was like 19 and she wanted to buy a house, and I was just like, yes, I'm going to help you.
Right.
And the house that she, you know, the one I was like, you can't get this.
Oh, okay.
It was that bad. It was like mold, and you know, like again,
Dang.
home inspections show a lot of
Important.
stuff. They're
Super
very
important.
even if it's just for informational purposes, just so you know what you're, you know, buyer beware. Like just
Yeah.
don't get yourself into.
Right.
Yeah, and then it was another house. It was like a lipstick on a pig. It was, you know, they had all the bells and whistles and stuff. It was real cute. But then that home inspector came in there and it was like
Found everything.
20 things wrong, and they were major things, you
Oh,
know.
wow.
So I don't care how nice the little knock-on refrigerator is, and you know,
Yeah.
light up the window and all that. No.
Gotta get all the
Yeah.
because that's a big investment to be playing with. You
It
you want to make sure everything in place.
It is.
But
But ultimately, everybody found a house.
okay,
They did find it, you know, the one that was
right.
for them.
The
So
19-year-old, she found out.
she found a house too.
That's
Yeah.
what's up.
That
That's
was
a shout
good.
out to her. So, in closing, what's the biggest or well both biggest and hardest lesson learned in this field?
Biggest and hardest lesson: stick to it.
Okay.
You know, be consistent. You definitely have to be consistent. You gotta sometimes work when you don't even feel like it. Follow through with it. I don't really know if that's like the biggest or the hardest, but you know, it's
Most
just,
important.
This is like the most important.
Gotcha.
You know, and make sure that you really understand that you have a license.
Okay.
Yeah.
Utilize it.
Not even just utilizing it properly.
Okay. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't do that.
No, you'd be surprised. There'll be some people that, you know,
Okay.
yeah.
I feel like you said that more than once and a little bit throughout the conversation. I see
Listen,
it's pretty common.
It's serious.
People be playing around.
You can't play around. You can't afford to play around.
Yeah.
you know.
I
You can't
understand
afford to
that.
play around.
I understand that. And one more. When we first started, you said about how sometimes you was moving furniture, you was cleaning up, scrubbing the house, and all of that. What point of the game does it require you to get your hands dirty and do things like that? Like, what point of the sale or the contact does it require that?
When I'm listing
Okay.
properties, you know, like if I'm getting pictures and things like that, you know, for my seller to list their property and making sure that it's that the house is in the best light possible.
Okay.
And, you know, presenting itself. also, again, like I said, sometimes you don't know what you're going to walk into.
Yeah.
I've actually walked into houses where it was flooding, and, giving the proper notice to, I try to make sure that we're collegial and, giving proper notice to people and things of
Right.
that nature. Yeah.
Okay.
But the hands getting dirty, like both actually physically cleaning stuff, and then also, I try to help out anywhere that I can during the process to make sure we get to the table.
Yeah.
I've had to actually go and pick up a license and bond for a contractor so we can get a 203K loan, done. Meaning, the insurance agent wasn't answering the phone.
Oh, okay.
I went up to the office like, okay, look, you messing with my transaction and my clients now. I need you to go ahead and issue this.
It's worth it at the end of the day doing all that. Yeah.
Thank you
you
so
getting
much.
that cut, you getting that money from out of that. It's worth getting all of that. Like, ain't playing no games. And I'm sure that the buyer going to appreciate you going all out for him anyway.
Yeah,
So.
I try to go above and beyond and go that extra mile, do that gym, if you will, go the extra mile.
Gotcha.
And, there's a difference, boiling point, they talk about that difference of 1 degree. 212 degrees is boiling point for water. Until you get there, it's not doing anything,
right.
So I try to make sure I do that extra oomph to,
Gotcha.
solidify the deal.
Do you mess with commercial at all? You mess with commercial properties at all?
I can.
That ain't your thing.
I don't.
Okay.
But we that is something that we can do within the brokerage, and we have that available.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So my takeaway from this whole conversation is to go for it. If you're thinking about the housing thing, you're thinking about real estate, just go for it and do it, and the chips will fall away they supposed to. That's what I get.
Yeah.
From your story, from what you were saying, you went for it, you had an idea, you went for it, you ain't tell nobody about it, you just said, I'm going to do it, this is where my heart, and you got confirmation I would assume your confirmation came by getting a quick sale, because I would assume that doesn't happen too often. People don't really sell straight off the back like that.
Everybody has a different path when it comes to real estate in their career. There's some people that haven't even been in it a year and they doing numbers, and I'm proud of them, for it. But my journey is mine. I actually still work. I'm a dual career agent. I still have another job, which people don't know that I do, because they were like, I didn't know you. Yeah, because the way that I handle myself and handle the real estate business, I still do it. I juggle it, and it works for me.
Gotcha.
I haven't transitioned over quite yet to doing real estate full time, because it's just some other things that I want to do. I love having multiple streams
who
of
don't
income.
I don't blame you. Who don't?
Yeah.
I don't blame you. All right, and final question, what's your overall goal for everything with this field? Do you have a big picture goal for this?
I do, and I'm gonna tell you, sometimes it's a little scary. It's a little scary. So my overall goal is to make sure that I have freedom.
Okay.
Mine
too.
Not just financial freedom and generational wealth. Real estate, like I said, it gave me purpose. I was able to do a lot of things with the money that I have made. Put myself in a better position in life. Like I paid my car off within a year of me starting real estate, because I just put my mind to it. I was like, I don't want this car payment.
Right.
I'm gonna pay it off. And I still ride around that car today.
That's what's up.
I just don't want a car payment.
That's a yeah.
I
don't blame you.
But I want to. The thing is that it's always changing.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, what, I aspire. I want to do something else, and I'd be like, I want to do this now.
Gotcha.
Investments, flips, like those are the kind of the bigger things for me. Multiple licenses in different states.
Gotcha.
Like I have some clients who are like, look, I'm thinking about moving here. Can you get your license? And I'm like, yeah, just let me know.
Right, gotcha. Okay. Where can the people reach you? How can they get in contact?
Instagram, it's at BB, the letter B, Woodson, WOODSON _ realtor. I'm also on Facebook, Blair Antoinette Woodson. I have sherocksrealestate.com.
Okay.
That's my website, www.sherocksrealestate.com. And even on Instagram, you can DM me. You can set up an appointment with me.
Okay.
My phone number is there.
Okay.
Just reach out.
I'm gonna put all that in the caption too if y'all ain't catch all of that. So all of that gonna be on YouTube and on the Instagram. So definitely. Well, I appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.
A lot of insight. Like I said before, you even convinced me even more after this conversation, and I know you convinced other people
Awesome.
with this. So
this is just scratching the surface. Like
yeah.
we got more to discuss and
For sure.
more to talk about. And
because we're gonna get that loan officer in here.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll come back with him as well. And,
Please do. We gonna set that
we
up.
can kind of definitely go through more of like the nitty gritty
Okay.
home buyer process.
Yeah, we just scratching the surface.
Yeah, we just scratching the surface.
It's gonna be a series.
Yeah.
And if you're interested, come to the next Reinvest. I'll have it on the page, and then you can meet and get some more information in person.
Yes.
I know you're open to that, right?
Oh yeah, I'm there.
All
I'm
right.
there just for selfishness for myself. Like I really enjoyed it. It was a breath of fresh air. Like
I did too.
Really.
I did too.
It was really energizing.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a lot of good stories in there too, and
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
A lot of good people.
Yeah.
And it's good, even for this city, just to know that there are a lot of
Events like that.
events and positivity,
Yeah.
going on.
We need it.
We don't hear
Not
enough.
That's why we're
of
gonna
it.
keep pumping it up. The more people, the bigger it'll grow, and people learn about it. So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
goal. But until next time, We Need Answers podcast. We out.